I'm not going to ask you the easy questions. I'm going to ask you the harder questions about this, and the questions that I feel like are being asked online, right?
I wouldn't
So,
expect anything
and
less.
I will, I'll preface this by saying I am 90% aligned with everything that you're doing. I'm going to ask about the 10%, not the 90% that I agree with. Okay.
Sure.
So the couple of questions that I have is, first and foremost, what happens if some player simply says, "Nope, I'm good with the contract that I have. Like, I don't want to sign an extension."
You can't have a pro sport without the best talent. Like I've said it from the very beginning, like it's very much, we need the buy-in from the best players to want to be here and want to grow this sports property. And they also need a great place to play. And I think we've done a really good job at that. Have we been perfect? No. Have we been pretty dang good? And have we worked our butts off? And does it get better every single week? I'd say yes. And I think everybody can see that. But to answer your question, what's nice is we designed this format for the most part for 95% of the players. This is a win-win for the business and it's a win-win for the players. And so for the most part, most people are just jumping for joy that we're moving to this model, because when you look at it from the player's standpoint, it's definitely more equitable and it's definitely more fair. And those are two main things we were trying to solve there. How do we have equity and how do we have something that's fair? And so, you have some players that right now they're ranked top 10 in the world, but they might only be making $150,000 in total compensation. And then you've got other players that, might be outside the top 30, maybe even outside the top 40, and they're making north of $500,000. And so, you have to have the understanding of, right place, right time with where we were before. It's just kind of the way the world was. But moving forward, we've been looking to solve that. And so where I'm getting is, I think most players are going to be on board. And for the most part, like, this has been designed with players' input. But there will be that 5-10% of players that, this might not be for them. And I think most of those players are players where, they don't really see a future playing professional pickleball any longer. They're people where maybe they're getting a little bit older, or they have something else that's maybe a little bit more interesting to pursue, or maybe the talent quite isn't there anymore. And we definitely expect a few of the people to go ahead and, we paid them their full amount last year. We're going to pay them their full amount this year. We're going to pay them their full amount next year. And they're likely going to be on their way pursuing something else.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it makes sense. I think it's the people who were highest ranked, or signed advantageously during tour wars, that haven't been able to sort of maintain that rank, that are going to be hurt the most. But another party that seemingly is hurt by some of this is some of the newer players, right? So you have players, the highest tier goes to the people who did sign during the tour wars, but that next level down is players who signed since. After that, you have the sort of standard contract, and even lower than that is the unsigned players. So it seems to me like this is skewed towards current crew, with making it a little bit more difficult financially for a new player to break in, because they don't have the same access to the prize money as an existing player, where Anna Lee could win $113,000. An unsigned player that happens to get really, really, really hot, and triple crown a slam is looking at $25K, something like that. It's substantially less.
Yep.
So I'm curious, like, do you see that being the case long term, where we're on tiered prize money systems?
Yeah, I think we were trying to solve for a few things, Zane. One main thing is players that currently have a deal that, may or may not be inflated, but have a deal with our league. They still have their piece of paper that they have with us is worth something, right? And so what we couldn't do is just say, hey, even though you have one more year on your contract, um, we're going to take prize money way down, or do something that we think is maybe a little bit more fair with where the business should be today. Like, you take a look at the pickleball landscape and you say, who are the professional entities that are out there that are really doing a good job running professional pickleball events? And you look internationally, there was the PWR thing for a little while. Like that thing never even took off. I mean, your boy Will Howes is still waiting on a check. And I know you've had that guy on there, and it's hard. I'm sure it was started with like the best intentions, but running a pro sports league, it's tough, and it's not as easy as just you look at the payroll. We're paying $33 million this year. Like that's just part of it. I mean, we're running tons of events. We're officing out of downtown Dallas. Rent's almost $1 million a year. We have staff that we have to provide. We're trying to produce amazing content. Like it's a growth business, and so there's a lot that goes into it. But you take a look around professional pickleball, and I'd say our number one competitor right now is the APP Tour. And respectfully, they pay out $1.5 million total each year. That's what they pay out to players. I mean, that's almost the same amount we're paying Jeannie Bouchard, right? And so when you take a look at these standard contracts, what we wanted to do is have something that made a little bit more sense with the market and where we're at today. And we definitely think those are going to grow. We think they're going to grow. We think they're going to increase. But we had to make sure that we were also doing something enticing enough for players that were currently signed to move over to the new model, right?
Sure.
They needed to feel valued for what they've done up to this point. And to be honest with you, like we couldn't have created this without the pro players. And so them being able to have this, gold prize money grid, something that is a little bit elevated than somebody just coming into the sport, like I think they deserve it. They've worked their butts off and they've helped put this business in a position where it can grow and it's going to succeed. And when people see the PPA Tour and Major League Pickleball, sports executives, they see it and they go, "Wow, it looks good. Your players look good. The sport looks good. You're starting to capture the sport in the right way." And we wanted to make sure that the players that have been with us from the beginning are getting properly compensated for that. But again, moving forward, you got to compare yourself to what else is out there, and it's
Sure.
still substantially higher than any other option that's currently out there for players. Someone will earn the
Yeah.
money at the APP Tour, but it's only going to be one or two guys, and there's someone there that should go and clean up because that's the best thing for them.
Mhm. Do you see it? To me, this feels like a transition between fully guaranteed to fully or mostly incentive based. Do you
Mhm.
see these extensions as sort of just bridging the gap there? And then do you eventually see two prize money tiers, a signed tier and an unsigned tier?
Yeah, I think that's it. And we might not ever even need contracts in the future. Like we're still growing, like the moat's still important. It's important for me to be able to go to our investors and say, "Hey, look, we've got the best talent. They're here. They're committed. We have something for the long term here." So the contracts are still super important for us and really I think three regards. One is us continuing to show our investors that we have a moat and letting people understand that this is still something that is safe to invest in and it's going to be here for a period of time. And I think two, it really helps us with sponsorship deals as well. They know that they're going to have the best talent playing on our tour week in and week out. And then third, and certainly not least, it's helped us tremendously in the media space. So like contracts, I think of this very much as a bridge year. We could maybe never have contracts again after this year. I'm not exactly sure. If somebody asked me like, "Hey, what do you think the perfect mix is or the perfect hybrid is, Connor?" I would say in 3 years from now, what I'd like to have is something where our signed players would get some kind of guarantee. Think of it somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 a year, and then prize money that's on top of that. Because I think we can learn from like sports like the PGA or the ATP. The prize money, it's great and it's a huge incentive, but you talk to the group as a whole and having some kind of financial security there, knowing like, hey, at least this is a good job and I'm going to be able to provide for my family. And if I'm going to commit to this, I know that there's something there. I mean, for me, building a sports league from the beginning and we can really do it however we want. That's something important to me. And it's important to our board and important to our organization that we do really want to have, some financial security for players that want to commit and try to grow Major League Pickleball on the PPA Tour.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, dollar has gonna, yeah.